So comment, subscribe, dislike, or like. Check out the links in the descriptions for other of my sites, other activities that I'm involved in. Got a whole bunch of Facebook groups you can check out. I play multiple card games, so I do music among other things, so check out the links in the description. This is my Hatchhyack Gotenks Unison Swarm, or Hatchhyack Aggro, I guess. 1 copy of the leader, 4 Gotenks Surging Strike, 4 Ocean Shinron, 4 Demon God Tor Ritual Hand, 4 Demon God Putine Mind Wipe Malevolence, 4 Magikayo the Shapeshifter, 4 Finn Cohesion Incarnate, 4 Goku the Adventure Begin, 4 4-Star Ball, 4 Power Burst, 4 Protector of the People, 4 Piccolo Savior from Beyond, 4 Dark King MicroRecords, 4 Super Saiyan 4 Broly, Prismatic Burst, 4 Sub-Zero, 4 Bardic Spirit Resonance, and 4 Toa Dark Demon Realm Sciences. So the aggro aspect of the deck will be obviously coming from your Unisons, mainly the ones that can play for 1 energy, Piccolo, right, and your SS4 Broly. They'll be Broly just by playing it for 1 energy will be 15k because it gets 5k for every marker it has on your turn. And then Piccolo, you can do its +1 ability to, well, actually you need to do its +2 abilities. No, it is its +1, because when you play it, it'll have 1 marker. You do the +1 ability so it can have 2 markers. For every 2 markers it has, it gets a 5k boost. So that's what you want to do. You want to do the +1, which means choose a card from your hand, discard it, and draw a card. So that way you don't, lose hand advantage, right? And then he'll be 15k. So for 1 energy, he'll be 15k. And you can swing on with that, as soon as turn 1. And if he's still on the field, by turn 2, then obviously you can swing, do his +1 ability again. Right, to let's say you lost a marker, so you bring him back up to 2 markers again, and then you can swing 15k, and then you can replace it with a Dark King MicroRecords. Obviously, take advantage of the Empower Black 2 to grab the 2 markers and give it to MicroRecords. So MicroRecords will have 3 markers. So it'll be a 20k with 3 markers. Then you can do MicroRecords +1 ability, choose 1 card from your hand, place that at the money of the deck, and draw 1 card. Pretty much similar to Piccolo's effect, right? So now I have 4 markers. Because if it has 3 or less markers, it can't attack. So you need it to have 4 markers in order to attack. So then you can attack with a 20k body in that scenario. And then if you have an extra copy of this card, you can perform the action again, pay 1 energy, right? Empower, take the 2 markers off of the original, the first MicroRecords, add it to the new one, right? So you have 3 markers, do the +1 ability again, so you have 4 markers and swing with 20k, right? And this is just, turn 2, so you should already have been able to do essentially 3 attacks, right? A 15k, a 20k, and another 20k, right? If that's, the unisons you start off with, right? And but of course, you can play them in different orders. Obviously, you can just Piccolo your opponent, right? Because remember, your opponent's gonna be at 10k, so you're already, too strong, right? Too strong. You're already at a point where your opponent's going to need 10k combo power to stop your 15k swings, right? And once you get to 20, and your opponent's still at, at 10k later, they're going to need 15k to try to outcome your attack. So the likelihood they're just going to take the hits is much higher. So this will help you, with these cards, help you go a little aggro the first 2 turns, because you don't get to swing with your leader until turn 3. So this is, your turn 1, turn 2 line of play. And then, of course, turn 3 and above, that's when you can, start doing other things. We got a couple of good 3 drops and stuff like that. Obviously, once you start, you finish off. Once you're done, taking advantage of your little Unison swarm or whatever you want to call it, right? Then you can, go into your bar deck and start getting your pluses from this and from leader swing and all that other good stuff, right? Keep your defenses up, the usual, especially with your leader. A floodgate ability keep you safe, and all you have to do is just keep being a threat to your opponent. So the ability to play multiple Unisons in one turn for like 1 energy and swing definitely helps you bypass the leader's effect. Helps you deal with any other deck that might try to use that same strategy. Now you have that strategy too, right? So people can stop saying that, I just gotta play a lot of Unisons against Hatchhyack. Well, Hatchhyack can play a lot of Unisons too, as you can see. So then we got Gotenks, which is kind of like the Mirror Creator Absorb combo, but all in one card, right? So the idea is, you wanna get it out for 2 energy, right? Overwhelm 6. It's a dual attack, so it can, has potential. It can attack twice, so it has a potential to do more damage, right? Or at least get its attack to go through, right? Because the first attack can be negated, but the second attack probably will go through, and that's the one you're going to use his active battle ability where you pay 1 black energy to give it 10k power and double strike. That effect is not once per turn, so you can keep paying black to keep giving it 10k. Obviously, you only need to give it double strike once for that battle, so that's the thing. So you just, can pump it up. Let's say you have 6 energy. That means you can pay 4 black mana, right? Energy into this effect and make it a 65k double strike. That's not including the fact that you can combo a whole bunch of 5ks from your hand, right? And get its attack up higher. I was considering the idea of using super combo to accompany him, but it ain't that deep. I wouldn't need it. But it is an idea, obviously paying energy to give them 10k and then throwing free 10ks on top of it doesn't hurt, right? Because you can easily get them up to 80k, 90k, 100k, double strike, right? If you play 4 super combos, right? So to each their own, play how you want to play. But I'm not going that route. I'm like, I'm good. He already is going to be strong. That's the thing. Paying energy to make him 10k stronger is enough for me. Let's see. And that's mainly what we're using for. He's just a, Mirror Creator Absorb type of thing. And the fact that, you can use him, obviously, since he's a dual attacker, you can obviously try to get multiple attacks through with him. And of course, you could combine it with the Unison. So, like, you can do Unisons, get your opponent down to a low life, right? And then pay 2 to drop this bad boy. And then just, 25k double strike. So he kind of becomes like, what is it called? Fighting against fate. He basically becomes your fighting against fate in that scenario if you don't use him as your mirror champa combo type of card. So you see he has a couple options, a couple ways you can play him, a couple ways he can be used. Of course, Oceanus, negate, right? You can negate attack. It's a blocker, so you can potentially stop a second attack. And then, of course, if your opponent attacks, they mill 4 cards for each attack. So obviously, we take advantage of that a lot, especially against Unison heavy decks, right? So, because Ocean says no against Unisons, right? And then we got Demon God Toa Ritual at hand, which is a blocker. Has the auto that when you play her, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards and send it to the owner's warp. Then your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and sends it to warp, and then they draw a card. Shit, I wish I was the one that drew a card, right? So this is obviously a 4-drop spot removal plus a blocker, so that way you can keep your defenses up. So if you need to get rid of a problematic card but still keep your defenses up, she's your gal. Then we have Dark, Demon God Poutine. She's also a blocker. She's a 3-drop. She has Dark Overwhelm 3 for 2 energy. So you could play her for 1 less energy, right? And save an energy for a negate. By using her Dark Overwhelm, since this deck is mono black, wouldn't be that hard to do that, right? And then auto when this card is played from your hand, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 4 or less, and switch it to active while they gain control of it. So stealing somebody's blocker, or Black Mass Saiyan, or any floodgate little battle card that your opponent might be trying to use against you. You can use it against them. Or let's say they have a 4 cost or less dual attacker. You can steal it and dual attack your opponent's face. This is just good at against a lot of just good for stealing, right? Why not use your own power, your opponent's own power against them, right? Steal their battle cards and beat them down with it, right? And she's a blocker, so still being able to keep it defensive up. So she'll let you steal a sword while being a shield, right? So there's that. Then we have Magikayo, which is a barrier blocker with revenge. Pretty much you put him on board and he's almost guaranteed to KO anything you want to get rid of. So he will force your opponent to try to outplay him, try to get around him, which will slow them down on their turn because they're trying to find ways to get around them, which is always good to have something that makes your opponent think, so that way it doesn't, that way hopefully they make a mistake, they make poor play lines and stuff like that, and you take advantage of that. And this is just to make it more hesitant, because most of my Hatchhyack builds don't have revenge. Like I mostly don't play blockers with revenge, but here's a blocker with revenge, but it has barriers, so reason to use it. This is a good tech card in general. I recommend it as a side deck card for any deck, because sometimes your opponent they don't have a threat on board you have to deal with on your when it's your turn, right? They usually have a threat on their turn, and when their threat comes out, it's probably probably game, right? So this is a way of dealing with any 10 drop Gogeta or 8 drop Gogeta trying to wreck you and stuff like that. This will help you in those types of situations. If your opponent's playing like a problematic dual attack, right? Something that has dual attack that can attack more than once. This will help you get rid of it, right? Because you'll block, revenge kicks in, kills it, and bang. Now the threat's gone. Even if the card has barrier, this will kill it, right? This gets past. The revenge gets past barrier, so you can definitely take advantage of that. This is definitely useful, especially against something that might have the effect where your opponent can't negate, right? Can't negate the attack of the battle card or a combo from the battle card's attack. This is a good way of getting rid of stuff like that. It's just a good card. Just think about it. Nice little spicy tech that I'm playing with. Then we have Finn, Cohesion Incarnate. Obviously, it's our board wipe. So you play for 2, and your opponent chooses one of their battle cards and then warps the rest. So it's our nice little board control. Then we got the Goku Adventure Begins with a 4-star ball engine, obviously. So we always have something we can combo without technically comboing. Right? And then, of course, this is good discard fodder for Oceanus, Power of the People, Toa's ability, and anything else we need to do. Like, you can obviously use the 4-star ball with like Dark King, Mechakabura, or Piccolo's effect, because their effects causes you to Piccolo causes you to discard a card to draw, and then Dark King, Mechakabura makes you bottom deck a card to draw. So in that scenario, you can just always trigger Goku Adventure Begins and just add the card back to your hand. So it's a good card to give up for these effects. Just something to keep in mind. Of course, how many times I mention it. If you're going up against hand control, obviously this is the kind of card you want to discard. If your opponent has an effect that says discard a card, then discard this, right? And he can always get it back, so you're not losing anything. So it's kind of like a hand control negate card, basically. It's the way I play it anyway. Power Burst. Obviously, if you have multiple copies of Goku Adventure Begins, you could get multiple balls, and you can play with multiple balls for days. Power of the Burst, right? You get an attack. Choose one of your black battle cards, one that's 1 cost, and add it to your hand from your drop or warp. That lets us reuse our Goku Adventure Begins. And then we got Spark and 5 effect, where if you have 5 or more cards in your drop, take a card from your life, add it to your hand to play this card for free. So it's a free negate. Then we have Protect the People, negate an attack. Then you may choose 1 card from your hand, discard it. And then if you choose, then Choose one of your leader cards and it gains the ability. When this card is attacked by a battle card, it gains 5k power for the turn. So it's our floodgate negates essentially. And of course, we got the Piccolo that we're going to play for. We're going to play for 1 energy through the +1 ability, so it could be a 15k, you know, right? We're going to empower with our MicroRecords, right? Then we got Broly, which we can play for 1 energy and swing with 15k. But he also has the -1 ability where you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost greater than their energy and send it to the warp. So there's some spot removal there for any big problematic battle cards, which is always good to have a 1 card out to it, to a big 8-drop or higher battle card, right? And then there's the fact that you can obviously, if you pay 4 energy to play it, right, it'll have 4 markers, therefore it becomes a 30k, so a 30k, beater is always good. I mean, 6 energy, you can make it a 40k beater, that'll be very, very strong. It'll be up there with an SCR, so keep that in mind. Bardock, of course, this is so we can get the +1 so we can draw. It has the -2 floodgate ability where until the end of your opponent's turn, they can't attack with battle cards unless they discard 1 card in their hand and send it to the warp. So this adds to our defensive capabilities. And yeah, that's mainly what we're going to be using for, right? And then we got Toa. She has the +0 active main ability where you choose 1 card from your hand, discard it, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, 3 cards or less, and warp it. So it's a reusable, spot removal card, right? A way to control our opponent's board. But the main reason is in the deck it's -4. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards and gain control of it. So it's a good way of removing a problematic card from our opponent's side of the field, but also giving it to ourselves so we can use it against them, right? Make their power ours. So it just goes along with our poutine strategy of taking stuff from our opponent and using it against them, right? And of course, if you have 2 or less markers on her, she can't attack. So typically you play her for 4, so that way you can attack with her and then -4 and steal something. So take advantage of that. And she has the auto that once per turn when one of your opponent's battle cards is removed from the battle area by a skill or by being KO'd, she gets a marker. So her +0 ability does trigger her auto to gain a marker when you warp one of your opponent's battle cards. See you in another video.